Transformers 1 didn't just hit theaters in 2024. It crashed into a franchise desperately needing reinvention. This wasn't another CGI spectacle with Shia LaBeouf screaming at robots. It was an animated origin story that dared to strip away the explosions and focus on actual storytelling. It was the Transformers movie that fans had been begging for since the Michael Bay era began. But sometimes franchise reboots don't always connect with audiences, no matter how good they are. Despite critical acclaim, it struggled at the box office against superhero fatigue and franchise skepticism. So the question remains, is Transformers 1 the creative renaissance the series desperately needed? Or was it simply too little, too late for a brand that had already lost its spark? Find out our thoughts as we watch another movie at Grandma's house. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar and a pitcher of Kool-Aid. Help yourself. And I'm your host, Isaac. It's time to show that we are more than meets the eye. And who's with me reviewing Transformers 1?
This is Seth. I'm done saving you.
Oh, it is great to see you, Seth. This is a movie we've been talking about, considering being a recent one. There's been a lot of hype for this one, a lot of talk about it. We're going to get into it more, so I can't wait till we dive into it more. Before we do, we want to give you, the listener at home, the proper spoiler warning. So from here on out, consider yourself warned. Let's jump into some film facts. This was released back on September 20th, 2024. It had a budget of $75 to $147 million. Kind of interesting. It's in that scope of the budget. The box office, though, it was $129.4 million. Looking around at the reviews, IMDb has a 7.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 89%. Letterboxd sits at a 3.8 out of 5. Currently, as of this recording, you can watch it for free on Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime, MGM Plus, YouTube, and many more. It features the voice talents of Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, John Hamm, and many more. It's in association with Paramount Pictures. And last but not least, let's get to Granny's family-friendly rating. So what is that rating, Seth?
Granny's family-friendly rating for Transformers 1 is a B- for language and some violence.
Right. So there you go for the facts about this movie, but let's talk about our memories, because this is actually fairly recent, but I'm interested. What are some first memories you have with this film?
Actually, I'd only had seen this once before the review, so it was kind of fresh, and but I do remember being surprised by this one.
Yeah, it's interesting with this film. I remember a lot of hype for it, but I just never caught it in theaters. It wasn't until after the fact that I watched it. So that was kind of the interesting thing. Again, this is more recent. Sometimes that happens. But I recall seeing the previews and I thought, this looks actually pretty good. I think I might try to see it. Just under the circumstances, it didn't work out. So I was happy again. I was happy we were going to be considering this one. So with that said, what were your expectations going on to the rewatch or the first time watching?
Just to buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, we've considered the first Transformers movie, and we enjoyed that one. But I was thinking, what are they going to do with an kind of an updated, but this is already telling you it's an origin story. It's kind of before the Transformers we know. So that was my expectations. Like, I hope it's going to do it justice. There's so much history with this franchise. Are they going to do it justice? But I was also hoping to be something that not only I would enjoy, but of course my kids. That's just something on my checkbox that, hey, if they're going to enjoy it, then I'm going to enjoy it most of the time. So that's what I was hoping for. All right, before we get to our plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsor. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. All right, let's pull up Paramount Plus. Let's select Transformers 1 and press play.
This is the origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, meeting friends along the way, how it began, and also how two bots can change everything forever. Grab some milk and cookies at Grandma's as Grandma puts on a new hit.
Right. This is a very interesting movie. I can't wait to really interact and talk about it because there's so much to dive into, especially when it comes to the story of the characters and whatnot. But I have to know, what is your first impressions as you're watching this film?
My first impressions were that the CGI was great but simple. It has an elegance to it, but I can't really explain why I like it so much.
That's kind of the same feeling I got. And I'm going to be honest. The first 10 to 15 minutes, I wasn't really drawn in. And it kind of just built. You know, it had to do that, though. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I was kind of worried, I guess. That it was an experience because I'm like, oh boy, this is kind of just vanilla. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. It was kind of neat. It's trying to leave it as a mystery. But this is Optimus Prime and this is Megatron, their beginnings. But they're friends, and seeing them in that race at the beginning that Sentinel Prime puts together, I thought that was fun, but I was just kind of like, is this where we're going with this? Is this just kind of a, hey, they're buddies and then there's just these little hints and then it happens. As the movie goes on, it locks you in. I don't know. That's what it did to me. It's like really developing the story. If you give it that time, if you give it enough space to really build, you're going to be in for a treat. That's all I can really say when it comes down to it. What did you think of the approach they did with it, though, of this origin story?
So this was a fun take on Transformers. I really liked how it gave a lot of new viewers the history without really pushing it in their face, maybe so much. Because it's quite a story to get to all the Michael Bay films, if that makes sense. And this was leading you through like the beginning of the franchise, you could say, like a reboot that really gave a simple, easy to understand process of how it all began.
Yeah. It just kind of, again, it's a nice transition. It starts out kind of on that slower pace. It introduces you to if you're paying close attention, you can see what the characters are, but it kind of builds you into that. And then there's some new characters too. So there's, you kind of see the beginnings of Bumblebee there. He's kind of that clueless guy in the mines there. But Sentinel Prime, I mean, this guy is just, you can see it a mile away. He's known as this like traitor always anymore. He's just got that reputation. So when he's at first shown as I'm looking for this, hero spark and all this, it's like, okay, buddy, what are you up to? As you're watching it, and sure enough, yes, he is working for the other side. So what did you think of that dynamics of kind of the twist, quote unquote, but then as it built on and went from there?
I like to see the different stages of this film. The character arcs were unbelievable. It really was well laid out. I think just showing the different takes of how the different personalities reacted to one another, and how there's like a bigger plan in store, but we didn't know the full extent of it at the beginning, but it gradually got there, and I really liked that. I personally liked that a lot, really.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think, was it oh my goodness, I am blanking, the older Prime that survived that attack. So Sentinel Prime betrayed the original Primes, and he was the only one left. I am blanking, and that is so terrible. Do you remember his name? Because the voice, I believe that was Lawrence Fishburne, if I'm not mistaken. This is terrible.
Alpha Trion?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, what did you think of his character?
I really love his voice. Like, his voiceover work was amazing. The voiceover work in this film was pretty amazing. I should say that.
Yes. We should actually get into that. Like, these had big stars, but I was really impressed with them. Chris Hemsworth, he plays Orion Pax, who, again, is going to be Optimus Prime, but I don't know, he does his own voice, but he captures Optimus Prime. Did you kind of feel that way too?
Yes, I think if I it's not a fun fact that I have in the episode, but I think I found somewhere digging that he actually was working with the original guy, I think, at some point.
Oh, nice.
I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that, but I think that that's the true. I think he worked with the original guy before he had he had a chance to record. So
Yeah.
he was working on like creating that tone when he is Optimus. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I could totally get that too. Like, that's just awesome. You would think he would have to at least be on a phone call or something and work with him closely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something to that effect. But I think that was what really shined. You have Scarlett Johansson kind of as a new character. She's a Lita 1, but I liked her dynamic. She's kind of that serious, draws everybody back because Optimus was kind of a klutz to begin with. He was just kind of a transformer to begin with, but she kind of brings it all back. And of course, you have it's D16, which goes on to be Megatron. I mean, you see those little signs of him where he becomes that ultimate Decepticon. And what really I thought was that's kind of cool. One of the primes was actually who he looked up to. So he had one of those stickers. And kind of jumping ahead, but Sentinel Prime burns that into him. I mean, that was kind of an intense scene, but what'd you think about that? It was kind of a cool origin to him.
Being a Decepticons fan, I thought that was probably the coolest scene in the movie, besides the racing part. The racing part was really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the racing part at the beginning, that's a big note. I like the train sequence where there's like kind of an earthquake and they're trying to get through, and ultimately they get through it. But it was really fun. It actually got me on the edge of my seat. I think by that point, that's where it really started to step up. Things really started to ramp up. I was talking about how it kind of starts out a little bit slow, which is, again, not a bad thing. But the train sequence was like, okay, literally buckle up, get ready, because this is going to take it to the next level. Yes, you're going to see this, quote unquote twist with Sentinel Prime, but just I thought, again, Starscream, he's in there too. He was kind of that leader of the Decepticons, and you see how it's D16, ultimately, again, Megatron. He defeats him and then becomes that leader. It's so just gives so many nods to the Transformers. You gotta love it. I don't know. What did you think about all those? Starscream, I think, is one of your favorites. What do you think of him being introduced?
I really dug the different characters in this movie. I had written down that I didn't even write down Starscream. I had Alita 1, B-127, and Megatron and Optimus. Starscream was really cool. I liked the different characters being there's a nod to the character. It's not so much like a main character, which I thought was really interesting. Given the fact that their whole premise is basically trying to get you to know the characters, you know what I mean? Which they took a different route this time, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah. And I think what sticks out to me, going back to the story, again, it's not trying to make it, it's a complete mystery. But if you went into this blindly, it does a really good job of just naturally building. It wasn't like a constant elbow. See, they're going to be Optimus. They're going to be Megatron. And in that climax of just them at odds with each other, they were friends, but they take their stand. Megatron ultimately takes out Sentinel Prime. He does the evil route. Optimus was not about that. But I was just blown away. I'll just say that. The story, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be another one of those prequels. But the story I keep coming back to that. I think that's the strength of this movie. And I really enjoy that. Transformers was a good story. I'm not saying it wasn't always bad, but it wasn't one of the strengths, I would say. It was more about the action, the characters. This really targeted the stories, and I really tip my cap to them. Good job. You weren't just doing a money grab. Let's just do explosions, Michael Bay it up, and, just fighting, which I'm sure a lot of people would just appreciate that. But it has that and a good story. So it's just you get my approval right there all the way. But yeah, the voice acting I keep coming back to also. John Hamm, we kind of dance around. He is Sentinel Prime. I mean, there's some big stars in this. How do you think they I guess again the budget, we talked about at the box office, they didn't do too well, but I don't know. Do you think that mattered to get big names like that, or what did you think?
I think it helps when you have a big franchise, or maybe even the director that's signed on to the project really helps to get the voiceover work, like better quality. They just they casted well. I don't know, the exact details of how much they were paid or anything, but usually, like, sometimes they'll have, like, I've said this before, they'll sign on with like a contract deal that if the movie does well at some point, they get like a percentage of it. So that might be what they, in what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm saying? Incentivized. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Incentivized them to do this, but they could have just been fans of the franchise. So whatever it was, it worked. It did great voiceover work.
Yeah. Because I'll admit, I didn't realize that the reason I asked that, it's like they did such a great job. And it wasn't until after the fact I looked at the names. I was like, wow, they actually got some big names. We also didn't mention Keegan-Michael Key was B127 as Bumblebee. I mean, he was kind of funny there. Again, we mentioned like Scarlett Johansson, big names there. Steve Buscemi was actually Starscream. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I was like, that is actually perfect, because Starscream is kind of that sneaky, just kind of, I don't know, Steve Buscemi can play different characters. He's not a one-trick pony in that way, but he does such a good job at that kind of a character. So I was so happy to see. I was like, I thought that voice sounded familiar, and it was afterward I saw. I was just like, that's awesome. That was great casting on their part, I had to say. But
before we get too far,
yeah,
I just want to say real quick to echo what you said in the Transformers movie, the opener for that movie, the episode. You were talking about how wasn't just like a big commercial for the toys,
right?
And for that film, that's obviously what they were doing. They were selling the toys, and they were getting you to know the characters so that you'd want to have the characters at your home. And with this one, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that at all. I feel like they're telling a story with each of these characters, and it's got a progression to it that's really strong.
I agree. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I enjoyed the 1986 one, but it was definitely like, look more of how cool this transforms. Look how cool this looks. And it did. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of, but I get what you're saying. I'm kind of like, yeah, this is definitely for if kids see it, like, I want that toy. This was more focal point on the characters themselves, and they had some cool moments. Like I think the forget her name. I think it was she was the villain. It's like Era. I can never say the names. Era Kin or something like that. She's kind of like a spider looking transformer, but she's kind of the assistant, whatever.
Arachnoid.
That's it. She's kind of cool. She's kind of got those spider, and she's like doing all of Sentinel Prime's bidding as kind of that right hand person to him. So there's like cool elements like that. But I just, again, I have to applaud them. They really put in the effort to make this a quality movie. I feel like you said, it wasn't just a commercial for toys. I'm sure this had its line of toys. It's going to happen. How can you not? But it was more focused on the movie itself. I got to give them a nice round of applause for that. They did such a good job with that. Like we tried to touch on it. I mean, there was not quite as many quotes, but I think there's a fair amount. Was there any quotes that you caught in this one?
I just had one big long quote, so I'll say it real quick. Sentinel, the betrayer, is dead, but his death has given life to a new enemy, a stronger enemy, a personal enemy. We will not be blinded by his deception. We are the ones who are Decepticons. Rise up.
That was an epic scene. Like, yeah, that's like the build up when you talk about quotes for a scene like that. I mean, it was like, whoa. I mean, he just defeated Sentinel Prime, and that was pretty shocking. I mean, you kind of saw it coming, but it was still shocking when it happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think that was a really good line. I think there were some good, like, funny lines. I didn't catch too many of them, but I did like where it was back before he was Megatron, he had said to Optimus there, he said, I'd transform into a shovel and beat you. That was pretty funny.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, the only disclaimer, I think the only knock is I did notice some language, like Bumblebee refers to himself. And I had to, going back to, I watched this with my kids. My kids enjoyed it. They were laughing. they really enjoyed the action and things like that. But there were a few times where there was just like, it felt like unnecessary language. It wasn't so strong, but it was just often. It was like more often than I thought. Sometimes it's just kind of thrown in there, but it was like a scene or two. It was like really rampant in there. I don't know. Did you catch that at all?
What I noticed was that the violence wasn't as strong as the Transformers the movie in '86. The violence is actually kind of aids the plot of the movie, and it's not really like a focal point of the film. It's more like it progresses the different characters. And so I thought that actually that was a solid, thing about the movie.
I agree. Yeah. Compared to kind of shocking to say, because you'd think that it'd be actually more mature, and it is.
Yeah.
Like the story, I would say, is more mature, but the elements, going back to like that betrayal, it kind of cuts away. It doesn't actually show them getting, taken out like the original. The original was just like, these are robots, but we're kind of showing you pretty intense scenes as they're happening. So that's one thing I did notice too. Well, I'm really interested. I'm sure you've got some good ones. So what kind of fun facts do you got?
Early in the film, Alita tells Orion, "You don't have to touch the power," referencing the Stan Bush song, "The Touch" from the Transformers, the movie, '86, which included the lyrics, "You've got the touch, you've got the power."
Love it. Great. Now that song's stuck in my head too.
The next one was at the train when D-16 and Orion were together after hiding the Dreadwing. Several future Autobots can be seen, notably Sideswipe, Wheeljack, Ironhide, and Hound.
I did not catch that actually. Maybe Sideswipe, but I don't remember the other ones. That's really cool.
Yeah. So they give a nod to the future. Yep. Transformers 1 is the first Transformers theatrical animated film in 38 years since the Transformers the movie in 1986.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know.
It's amazing to think that they didn't do a full-length feature in all that time. That's kind of mind-boggling. It's like the Super Mario Brothers. They didn't they didn't want to do a follow-up.
I didn't know what to say to that. I'm like going through my head like, no, they should have done another one. That was just kind of.
But it wasn't a full-length feature. All they did was the cartoon and whatever else the other cartoons, you could say.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know. That's something I would have been stumped on if you would have did trivia. I don't know.
Nice. The last fun fact that I have here before the fun fact trivia question is, and you already mentioned it, you give reference, this is Steve Buscemi's second Transformers he starred in. Oh. His first movie was Transformers The Last Knight as a voice of the Collector Day Trader.
Right. Okay. I remember seeing that one, maybe bits and pieces, and it's been a long time. I don't remember, but yeah, I don't know. He has a really distinct voice. I really like his voice. So I was really going back to when it happened. I was like, that's got to be Steve Buscemi. But I was really happy to see that he was in it when I looked up his name. So that's cool.
So are you ready for it? It's the fun fact trivia question.
All right, let me see if I can get this one.
All right, this is semi-tricky, okay? So its release date was switched or swapped with what other film? A, The Wild Robot, B, Kung Fu Panda 4, or C, Dogman?
Okay. So
they were going to release it. They were going to release it, and they swapped dates.
Okay. And that just depends on how far, because Dogman came out earlier this year. This one was last year. So I'm almost leaning towards Dogman because that's a bigger, but Wild Robot was pretty close. I'm probably overthinking it like I normally do. It's Paramount. Let's just do Dogman. There's something telling me it's Dogman, but that's maybe the.
I'm so sorry.
You tripped me up, man. You're doing great.
It's the Wild Robot. They actually switched release dates with the Wild Robot.
I had it between them. Yep. There's something telling me Wild Robot, and I was like, I should just say that, but oh well.
Oh, boy, I'm so sorry.
I just should not try out for game shows. That's what this is telling me. There's people probably just shaking their heads at me because I've gotten so many wrong, but it's okay. I will get the next one. So hopefully you The viewer at home did much better than I did. That's all I could say. All right. Well, before we get to our review, we like to look around the net, just kind of see what kind of thoughts are out there. So, Seth, what kind of reviews are you seeing?
The first review was Z_Big Stinker says, the Transformers movie fans have been waiting for 9 out of 10.
All right. Oh, we're so immature. We laugh at these names, but I'm sorry.
I know. I do it on purpose. So, the next one, Perry at the movies said, definitely worth rolling into theaters for 7 out of 10.
I like that. Yeah. Roll out, roll in to that. Yeah. And 7 out of 10. That's a great rating. So good one.
Another repeat offender, Unique Particle says, genuinely one of the best Transformers, 9 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. 9 out of 10. That's a really good rating. So I really had a great time with this. I can see there was a lot of hype, like I said, when I remember seeing the previews, but then hearing after the fact from ones that had seen it, they really enjoyed it. So this is, I think, for Transformers fans, it might be, I might be wrong, but it seems like it was kind of a good, like, I don't know what word I'm searching for, but just like a love letter, or whatever you want to say, to Transformers fans. That's what I'm trying to convey. Yeah.
So this is a review from our resident superfan, Jonathan. Even though most will quickly realize that D16 will become Megatron and Orion will become Optimus, this is a great film. It exemplifies how tough circumstances can be viewed from different perspectives, and how someone handles life's injustices affects their personal outcome as well as others. It could have used a little less silliness, but despite that, it shines with excellent animation and a compelling story that clarifies the exciting history of the Transformers.
Very nice. So we got a expert, one who is a big Transformers fan. He's got the approval. So thank you very much for that, Jonathan. We appreciate you giving your thoughts. And again, if you listening, you have any thoughts, feel free to share them. We're going to try and kind of give a heads up of the movies we're going to be covering, but even ones we've covered, we'll be sure to give you a shout out. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories that you have, maybe memories of past movies. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So be sure to message us, and we'll have the handles here at the end where you can reach us at as well. Well, let's get down to it. Let's give our reviews. So I'm going to ask you, Seth, when it comes to Transformers 1, how are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the...
Okay, so it's a new take on an old classic. What's not to love? So I have to take this one home because it's very enjoyable and one I look forward to watching very, very soon.
Nice. I think this is one that surprised me. I'm just going to say I didn't have like low expectations, but I was just thinking, okay, this looks like a fun time. I was really blown away though. I was really surprised how well the story just progressed, how it developed. It seemed more real. It's not one of those like generic stories. I'm not saying it's an original story and never been done. It's just, it felt more authentic, if that makes sense. It wasn't so manufactured and, okay, I can see this. And some things you could certainly see coming, but it didn't try to force it down your throat. I just appreciate when you can do that with a story. There's a fine balance of you're not trying to just trip up the viewer, but you're also not trying to be so bland and giving you everything that you've seen a million times. It did a good balance, at least from my take. I do wish there was a little less language. I wish there wasn't as much, like, so much of it. You know what I mean? It was just kind of in there. But as a movie as a whole, I was back and forth on it. I still got to take this home. I'm sorry. I had such a great time with it. And my kids enjoyed it. I just had to give a little bit of disclaimer to them at times. Like, okay, never mind this or that. It's not extreme, especially some of the movies we've considered. But I think that's where it was like, I would have been like high praise on maybe even bring out everybody in the family. I think there's just a little bit of language thrown in there unnecessarily. I'm not a big fan of that. So that's probably a me thing, but that's something I will kind of disclose. But otherwise, yeah, this was a great time. I had a great just ride going from start to finish and that slow burn. I'll say it again. It was a slow build, but man, the payoff is so good. It's so much fun. And what is there more to say? It just pays homage to the original Transformers. If you're a Transformers fan, got to check it out. That's all I got to say. Well, there you go, folks. Another film in the books that we have considered. This was a lot of fun, Seth. I don't know about you. This was so much fun to consider. And I can't wait to hear what you, the viewer, has to say. Comment below your thoughts as well. We want to hear what your experience was in watching this movie. Well, before we wrap things up, let's tell everyone where they can find us. So, Seth, where can people find and connect with us?
Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a newsletter now, so keep up to date all things Movies at Grandma's House. Patreon, we're on Patreon, so check us out, become a member. And go to movieposters.com and type in Grandma's House at checkout for 15% off.
There you go. Yeah, be sure to get on our newsletter. We are really excited to be sharing with you the prospect of getting your very own poster from movieposters.com. That is our giveaway each month. All you got to do is be on our newsletter, and you could win a free poster of your choice. Well, that's going to do it for now at Grandma's, but don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.